Closed captioning for The Casey Malone Show is sponsored by Hunter Stevens Land Title Agency. Integrity, service, and commitment you can trust.
Oh yeah, Casey Malone is serving up local. It's time for the stories of our region, the tastes, the sights, the sounds, and the people in and around the valley. Get ready for some local flavor on The Casey Malone Show.
Today I prepare my savory pumpkin soup. And I visit Mortals Key Brewery in Jamestown, Pennsylvania. But first, a local treasure, artist Chris Yambar. We're here at the Soap Gallery in downtown Youngstown, and they're celebrating their first anniversary. And to celebrate, they pulled out the big guns. They have a huge exhibit here running through October with local artist Chris Yambar. And you have not exhibited, is that the right word to use? Displayed your art lately?
Yeah. Well, after my 25th anniversary, I still painted, and I was still, doing the comics, but I decided to take a little bit of time off and really do a reassessment of where I was going. And I was starting to have some problems with my vision, so I had to go through a reinvention process, which really worked out well. Now, instead of doing 100 paintings a year, I could do a minimum of 300, max 600. So this is 200 into the first year.
Have you always silk screened? Are you pretty proficient in that?
For shirts, yeah, I'm a subcontractor. Yeah, I work with people who know what the hell they're doing.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, what's great is that I don't have to do any guesswork. If I work and take the picture correctly, and I understand composition, light, darkness, composition, what makes an interesting photograph. If you hang around with photographers, you realize it's a real science, it's a real art form, so there you go. So the camera became a tool, another tool in my box.
And then you were able to use the images from your lens, and then put them on a different medium.
Nice way to say it. Yes, absolutely. And a lot of times as a pop artist, I would use found objects and images. Okay, and this opens up a whole world. Now you actually see what's in my eyes, which makes a hell of a lot of guys jealous, actually, especially with the new work that I've been doing.
Well, I'll tell you. I mean, it really is interesting. Is this all the same model?
This is all the same model. Absolutely.
And what is the theme of your show here?
Well, it's all about the strength and power of women, okay? And I work with an anonymous model. She works in the professional sector. She's not an art chick, you know what I mean? And if that doesn't sound politically correct, I don't care.
Now this series you called Whip It?
Whip It.
Whip It Good.
Yeah, Whip It Good.
So this flogging. What is the term for that?
Well, it could be. This is because it's a nine tails, so it actually could say flogging or just whip, a whip it or paddle. You know what I mean? There's a big thing on spanking. People love it, but people have been very, very bad. So
well, there's a lot of people,
and even people that have been very, very good need it too, because you got to prepare for the future.
Now, what is the name of this collection?
This is called Attitude. And this is all attitude. I mean, we were just going to take shots of the bustier, right? But she put the head, and I said, so you want to take a break? And she goes, well, actually, there was that little move, and I said,
that's it.
Take a break. We got the shot. And she goes, what? And I says, oh yeah. So we sat down and we got to review the shots, and she was hilarious about it. And she says, are you sure? I says, am I sure? Are you kidding me? I picked you. I says, are you kidding me? She got it, and she got it.
Before you did your art full time,
right?
What did you do?
Oh, I worked in restaurants all the time in order to. I mean, I could cook. I cook like the wind. There's no doubt about it.
I know. I've had your meatloaf.
Well, there you go. And you ought to do yourself a favor. Go to Casey Malone's. What do we call it? Website. I know. So that's how technological I am. I'm like, what's the guy's
super? Your email machine.
The thing.
CaseyMaloneShow.com.
Put Yambar meatloaf.
What made you?
Well, that was always the goal. It was always the goal. I always wanted to be involved in comics, and I was involved in commercial art, and that was the big thing. And I went to school for commercial art at the vocational school, and yes, I'm a college dropout. So, but if you already know what you're going to do and you know how to do it, then the only person holding you back is you. You know, real life experience is the greatest portfolio you're ever going to have. So I say if you're going to do it, become it and jump right in. I was going to get one tattoo. It's going to say Conduit Deity, and I was going to have it put on my arm. So you got to look up the words to figure out what it means.
Okay.
Yeah. It means to channel God is what it means.
To channel God.
Yeah, it's about the power of God. Yeah.
Well, I think that.
After what I've been through, that's the only power that's worth anything.
Well,
to me.
We should talk about that.
Yeah. You know
so
what I mean?
you had a fall.
Yeah.
You cleaned up the cut. Then you happened to fall again.
It tore open again, and then the infection went straight to my foot.
And it is what just silent. You had no idea. You didn't have any like pain. Or...
There was no pain. There was no connection to my foot. But because I have moderate diabetes, it went straight to my foot because that's where everything goes.
Well, and then you have less feeling down there. Yes.
Yeah.
What was the process like? I mean, once you were diagnosed and on the road to being
well, it was
mended.
tough. It was tough. I had to learn how to stand. I had to learn how to walk again. That was a real treat, you know, because I wasn't able to be weight bearing on my foot. You know what I mean? So that was really tough. And then as a result of being bedridden, I had problems with my internal organs too. So, I mean, there were a lot of different ways to die, and I was pretty much checking them out. You know what I mean? But they left me on the machine a little too long, plus I, you know, blah, blah, blah. So it also shut down the use of my kidneys. So now I do the dialysis, and we're making a hell of a lot of progress. That's just how it goes.
How was everything received? I know you opened over the past weekend. How was the buzz? What was the buzz?
The buzz was good. The king is back. You know, I can't lie about it. You know what I mean? And this is just the first of one ongoing nuclear mushroom cloud after another. Because I don't believe in doing anything small. I think you go through life once, let it rip. You know what I mean? Build a bridge and then set it on fire.
The Casey Malone Show will be right back with more local flavor. Well, this is for you, Phil. Happy anniversary!
Cheers.
4 years at the tree. So what have we learned?
It's been a great journey. What we have learned is that people want to come to celebrate here at Magic Tree. We have these beautiful signs for every occasion, and for my wife and I over the last 4 years, to be able to do what we've done for the community with fundraisers has been very dear to our heart.
And what do you see coming up in the future?
Well, we have a huge building. We have incredibly good craft beer, incredibly good food we make from scratch, and our wine on tap. We have something for everybody here at Magic Tree Pub and Eatery. I want everyone to come down and let us create a memory for them.
That's right, and I love that they have the trays to go. Party, pick it up, take it to the office, take it at home, and you can party at the tree no matter
That's
where
right.
you are. Congratulations. Good
Cheers.
job.
Part of growing up in Youngstown is growing up with Rowley Brothers Markets. Even friends who have moved out of town come to shop and say hi when they're home for a visit.
And my family has always shopped at Rowley's, and today they are still my favorite grocery store. My recipes depend on the best ingredients, and that's why I get them at Rowley's, where you'll always find the freshest food at the best prices.
Rowley Brothers is a proud sponsor of the KC Malone Show. The quality that customers have come to expect is true local flavor.
Save 50% right now at Kamara Jewelers.
It's our October bridal closeout. Save 50% off select designer engagement rings and remounts.
Simon G, DeMarco, Camelot, Gabriel, Art Carved Bridal, and many more. Get real, get Kamara.
Coming this fall, an all-new haunted attraction. Fear awaits. In a baseball stadium after dark. The Experience in Eastwood Field.
Hurry into a Spitzer location near you to enjoy the lowest prices of the year on some of our best-selling 2016 models. You can save thousands on your new vehicle with the Spitzer Model Year-End Sales Event. Spitzer, saving you more since 1904.
When the temperatures cool down, I start making a lot more soups. And when I was out at Ziddick's pumpkin farm, they'd given me some pie pumpkins. And I had never really worked with them, only the pumpkin puree. So I had baked them off, removed the inner flesh, and voila, I have got fresh pumpkin chunks. So I have made an incredibly delicious and savory pumpkin soup, and nothing went to waste. I also toasted the pumpkin seeds for this soup that I'm going to use as a garnish. Not a lot of ingredients, but this is packed with flavor, and it's not loaded with heavy cream because I really like a lighter soup. So get ready for my savory pumpkin soup. For this recipe, you'll need 8 cups or 2 32-ounce cartons of chicken stock, 5 cups of baked pumpkin chunks, 2 teaspoons of fresh thyme chopped, 5 cloves of minced garlic, 1 tablespoon of fresh ginger grated, 2 medium onions chopped, 2 teaspoons of salt, 1/2 teaspoon of pepper, 1/2 cup of half and half, and chopped cilantro and pumpkin seeds for garnish. This recipe is so easy, you are not going to believe it. You can thank me later. All right, I've got all the chicken stock already in the soup pot. I have the heat on medium-high because we want to bring this to a boil. And if you don't want to work with fresh pumpkin, this is about 5 cups from 1 medium-sized pie pumpkin. You can use 4 cups of pumpkin puree. All right, from a can, but make sure you get the unseasoned one, not the pumpkin pie spiced one. So we're going to add this to the pot. And then we will add our 2 onions that I've already chopped. I mean, this is such an easy dish. One of my favorite seasonings, other than garlic, which I just dropped in, is the ginger. And that really makes this a bright, bright dish. So I put in that tablespoon of ginger. Also thyme, it's so versatile. Drop that in. And then we'll add salt and pepper. This is 2 teaspoons, okay? Be a little generous, it's a big pot of soup. And then about a teaspoon of fresh ground black pepper. And what we're gonna do is bring this to a boil, and then we'll reduce the heat and let it simmer for 30 minutes. Well, it's come to a rolling boil, and I wish you could smell this. Oh, it smells amazing. So now we'll reduce the heat to a nice low simmer. We'll go about 20 minutes more, and then we'll get ready to puree this. Well, it's been simmering for a half hour, and the kitchen smells amazing. And now is a good time to use your handy dandy immersion blender. Now, if you don't have one, you can put this in your blender a few cups at a time and remove it from the heat. But I just like to turn off the heat and do it right here on the stove. So now is a good time to smooth and puree this soup. Well, it's totally smooth and creamy, and I'll let it simmer for about 20 more minutes. But if you like it a little chunkier, you don't have to puree it quite as much as I did. And in about 20 minutes, we'll add the half and half, and this soup will be ready to serve. I'm not a big fan of really heavy, thick, creamy soups. And actually, this soup you could eat right now. But I'm going to add just a little more thickness. And I'm going to cream it up just a little bit with a 1/2 cup of half and half. And I've already turned the heat off. I am just going to pour this in and stir thoroughly to make sure it's combined. Okay, so let's give this a try. A dollop of Greek yogurt would be excellent on this. But I've done my toasted pumpkin seeds as a garnish and also some fresh chopped cilantro. And this looks amazing. It is so rich and flavorful and warming, and it's delicious. But it's not a heavy, thick, creamy soup, but it's loaded with flavor. You are really going to enjoy this. And my wonderful beverage consultant, Phil Rita, he recommended Maison Legrand, which is a French brand, and this is a Côte de Gascon, and it is a very dry but well-balanced white, and it really cuts through all the ginger, garlic, and wonderful pumpkin flavors, so it is a wonderful wine to enjoy with this soup. Go to my website, CaseyMaloneShow.com, for my savory pumpkin soup recipe. It is going to get you through this fall and winter. Enjoy. Cheers. The Casey Malone Show will be right back with more local flavor.
Hi everybody, I'm Danny, owner and operator of Cthulhu Prime Meats, a third-generation butcher shop that not only specializes in quality, but also in customer service and doing things in a new technological way. Chris here is our customer service manager. Chris, what do you think that we do differently than any other grocery store?
I think we personally not only offer great product, but we can offer a great customer service experience as well. We try and treat all our customers like they were family and friends, ask how their family's doing just so they can keep in touch, and give them that customer experience that they deserve.
And the nice part is we not only do that inside the store, but also on CthulhuPrimeMeats.com, where you can buy a lot of our products that we carry here, whether it be grass-fed beef, organic chicken, some of our specialty burgers and bacon. Those are wonderful, and we're going to provide that same customer experience online as we do in store.
Come see us in store or online. Make your next meal one to remember.
Cerny means trucks. For over 50 years, the Cerny family has been the area's leader for medium and heavy-duty international trucks. New or pre-owned, Cerny means trucks. Easy to find. Cerny Motors is conveniently located at Route 46 and 80. At Cerny Motors, no job is too big or too small. Cerny Motors service will keep you on the road. For service, parts, sales, lease, or rental, Cerny means trucks.
Save 25% off loose diamonds right now at Kamar Jewelers.
Our bridal closeout is underway. Save 25% on all diamonds. We'll custom design your perfect ring.
Trust your family jeweler for 68 years. Get real, get Kamara.
Pursue your passion for craft beer at Mortals Key Brewing Company in Jamestown. We've unlocked old world recipes with the finest ingredients, small batch care, and an artistic nonconformity. Enjoy craft brews by award-winning brewmaster Sean McIntyre. Open all year. Visit our tap room across from Pymatooning Lake. Find some freedom. Mortals Key Brewing Company.
I am blessed with a wonderful husband. He's stuck with me through thick and thin, and he's a fantastic father. So when he needed long-term care, not just any place would do, we did our research. Everyone said, trust the name you know, Briarfield. With all those locations, there's always one close. That made it easy for me and the kids to visit more often, Briarfield.
Trust the name you know, Briarfield. Proudly serving the Valley for over 20 years.
Hurry into a Spitzer location near you to enjoy the lowest prices of the year on some of our best-selling 2016 models. You can save thousands on your new vehicle with the Spitzer Model Year-End Sales Event. Spitzer, saving you more since 1904.
Well, you may remember my buddy Doug Shannon. He is also a beverage aficionado and one of the owners of Lago Winery. Well, right here on the same property is Mortals Key Brewing Company. And you've been talking about opening up a brewery, and it has happened.
It goes back 20 years to a road trip down the West Coast, and we've all been chasing good beer since then. And so here we are, 3 years of building the building, and a lot of hard work. Stumbled across a phenomenal brewer, and a lot of it's been hard work, but some of it's been luck.
Well, I mean, you always give such a distinct personality to your winery, now your brewery, and Mortal's Key. You have the Ankh.
I think it's
industrial.
One of my great friends, Bruce White, and his wife, Jen White, so a couple of local artists got together, and then we just kind of recruited anybody that we could to do work on the place. And so you'll kind of see when you walk into it, it's real unique. Everything's a one-off. Everything is handmade. Everything is salvaged goods on the tasting room side. Everything's brand new high-tech brewery equipment on the brewery side. So it's a group of artists that got together and craftsmen, and so you'll see little bits and pieces the more you look around local iron workers, local metal workers, local glass workers, you name it.
So it's really true local flavor.
It is. It's Bruce and I working on it, but it's 50 more people, involved. And then along comes Sean McIntyre's phenomenal brewer, and that's what really, at the end of the day, we've got phenomenal beer, and that's thanks to Sean.
Well, the man behind Mortal's Key is the brewmaster, Sean McIntyre. And Sean, cheers, because you are putting out some excellent world-class beers.
Oh, thank you.
We have to drink now. It's bad luck if we don't. Now, you have quite a pedigree. You have won many awards.
A few.
Well, aren't you going to elaborate and tell me about it?
Well, it seems so long ago. That was back in like 99, 2000, 2001, which is actually one of the beers that I'm brewing tomorrow. So.
Well, I like that it's a lower alcohol beer. Do you like brewing those beers? What is the adjustment you have to make when you're going like 5 or 6 as opposed to like a 8, 9, or 10 ABV?
You're adding more malt.
It's all malt.
So the more malt you have, the more sugar you're going to get. So that's kind of... right now my favorite beers are the session beers, like session IPAs, to drink because they're lower in alcohol.
And where's your training come from? Where did you start learning all this?
John Harvard's Brew House in Wayne Township in Wayne, PA. That was like at the end of it, coming up this January, it'd be 20 years.
20 years you've been in this business, really. And what do you like to drink when you go home at night and you're done with all the craziness from all the different breweries you've been involved with? What do you pop open?
An IPA or a session IPA or a good scotch.
I love that. Bruce White is one of the founders here at Mortal's Key. Now tell me, you've got 4 offerings currently on the menu. And why did you think these 4 made the cut?
Well, currently we do have 4. We started with 4. This is right here is the IPA. This is the Baltic Porter. This is the Alt Beer and the Kolsch. We decided on these 4 beers because we wanted to start with 4. We'll branch out into 5, 6, maybe 8 different offerings. These are going to be our mainstays for now. The Kolsch is our lightest beer. I won't get into the ABVs and all that.
What is the most popular? What do you see most people calling for?
Well, right now the most popular beer is the Kolsch. It is light, it's a summery beer. Then people move on to the alt beer. It is also really refreshing.
It's delicious. Even your porter though, which I would never have thought in the middle of summer I would enjoy it, but I think it's excellent. And your IPA.
Yep, we're happy with all of them. We're very fortunate that we started off on the right foot. The porter itself, more and more people are drinking this in the heat of summer. It's incredibly good. I think it's a world-class beer, no doubt about it.
This is excellent. I'm having the
Baltic Porter.
The Baltic Porter.
Yeah.
And you are enjoying?
I'm enjoying the alt beer. It's like a German.
And you're starting right now. You're starting with 4 basic beers. These are tried and true recipes that you really believe in and that you know people will like.
Yeah, I think you got to nail, some basic beers first. We had to nail some stuff that we knew was good right out of the bat. So we didn't go with a lot of beers in the beginning. We were like, let's nail our 4 beers. And I think we did. And the Kolsch and the Alt are drinkable session beers, and anybody can drink them. The IPA is a hoppier beer that a lot of Americans are after.
So right now, the way you could take it home with you is to grab a growler.
Right now, it's a growler, and Bruce could grab you one of those and show you that growler. But we are planning on doing a canning line. So whether we use a canning truck or whether we buy a canning line, we have full intentions to put it on the market. So it's kind of a big system for a brew pub.
Yeah.
And so we're set up for the future.
Oh,
yeah.
well, thank you,
cool,
Bruce. That's a beautiful growler.
It is.
Very
I think we sold out of the first 100 in the first 2 days. So,
look at that.
We've been going through some beer.
And this was a really soft opening. You didn't have a big announcement.
We had no grand opening.
You started in late June.
This is our 6th weekend. We don't tell anybody. There's been thousands of people through it already. And, we're going through beer fast, but one thing we want to do is make sure the beer's had plenty of time to age. So we're not in a hurry to tell, it's about having the beers be right. So we'll take our time and make sure the beers are right, and that's the most important thing.
My show is always on. Watch previous segments at CaseyMaloneShow.com. Sponsored by the Ingram Law Office. The Casey Malone Show is sponsored in part by Denise and John York and the DeBartolo Corporation.